Joining me is Simon Banks of the lobbying firm Hawker Britain. He's worked in senior positions for 3 federal Labor leaders, and Jason Falinski, the former federal Liberal MP. Jason, is this serious or just a minor bit of sloppiness? Who cares? Border Force, Defence Force, same thing?
Well, Andrew, this campaign is turning into a gaffe-a-thon for the Prime Minister. He's, yesterday he tried to tell us that he wouldn't be doing a deal with the Greens, but ended up ruling out that he wouldn't be doing a deal with the Greens. Then today he confused the ADF with the ABF. He confused the South China Sea with the Great Australian Bight. He confused Australian freedom of navigation exercises with a foreign warship trying to map our sea cables and our communication cables. This is not good enough from a Prime Minister of a serious government, and it's something that I think all Australians should be seriously worried about.
Simon, your call?
Well, I think it's pretty extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, in 2020 we had a similar Chinese vessel off the Western Australian coast mapping submarine cables there. I don't remember the flapping of gums that we've seen from the coalition today about that. And of course we all know now why Peter Dutton wants to move to Kirribilli, because just like in 2019 he wants to see a Chinese flotilla. He wants to see it firsthand when they turn up unexpected in Sydney Harbour. I mean, this is a joke, right? The truth is the thing that keeps Australia safe is our ability to protect ourselves towards our northern border. And one of the biggest changes we've seen over the last 3 years is the development of a new missile capacity, which this government has funded, which Peter Dutton didn't fund when he was Defence Minister. And not only are we putting missiles on the ground to create capability and defence for Australia to our north, we're actually going to be building missiles in Australia so that we've got a sovereign defence capability. These are the types of things that actually matter to Australians' defence. And if Jason wants to complain about activities that took place by the Chinese when they were last in government and call them gaffes, well, I've got to tell you, these guys just clearly don't know what they're talking about.
I think that's... You make a point, but you're missing, I think, some important context. And there's the change in China over the last few years in particular. I find it amazing that defence has got almost no mention in this election, given that China, Jason, has been threatening us and just sent an aircraft carrier and 18 other warships for a joint Army, Navy and Rocket Force exercise off Taiwan to intimidate it, to punish it for talking up independence. China's army, at the same time, in connection, released an astonishing video, you've got to see it, calling Taiwan's president a parasite. Here it is.
A few moments later.
And it's astonishing. That video was actually created by the Chinese government, spread by the Chinese Department of Foreign Affairs. It's not normal behaviour at all, Jason. With this going on in our region, how can we be having an election where defence isn't a central issue?
Andrew, I totally agree with you. I mean, the fact of the matter remains that the Chinese government says the quiet part out loud. Xi Jinping is on the record as having said many times that he wants reunification, including by force, of Taiwan by 2030. And Taiwan is critical not just to Australia, but to the West generally, because it has the most sophisticated chip manufacturer in the world. And if that comes under the control of the Chinese government, everything from electric vehicles through to iPhones will not be possible to make. We also have many of the strategic military colleges in China have said that one of their war plans includes isolating Australia from its support. So not necessarily invading Australia, but making sure that Australia is unable to reach its support and its allies in order to support it. And look, I don't want to go around announcing Labor Party defence policy, but I think it amounts to them giving free sets of binoculars to Virgin airline pilots and Qantas airline pilots so they can check what foreign warships are in our territorial waters. I mean, Simon, if they want to be serious about defence, now's the time to be serious about it and not make a false equivalency between what Australian warships are doing in Southeast Asia to ensure freedom of navigation versus what a foreign war vessel is doing in our territorial waters, mapping data cables in order to isolate us from the rest of the world.
Yeah, mapping data cables
about,
like they did in 2020 off the West Australian coast. I mean,
the difference is, Simon, that in 2020... Sorry.
No, hang on a minute. First of all,
yeah, sure.
the Virgin pilot did detect those Chinese live-fire missiles first. They were actually under the surveillance of the New Zealand Navy at the time through a cooperative agreement that's been existing over many, many years. The delay in communicating that was at the New Zealand government end, and Peter Dutton, of course, is running around with the same campaign slogan as the New Zealand Conservatives took to their last election campaign. If you want to talk about defence commitments in this most recent budget and lead-up period, Labor's buying more missiles, something that can be deployed quickly and soon if needed to defend Australia from the Chinese. What we've had from the coalition is they're going to buy an extra squadron of Joint Strike Fighters. Now, I've got nothing against the Joint Strike Fighter, but they're not buying any fuel for it. They're not buying any weapons for it. You're not training any extra crews for it. We're spending $3 billion under the coalition for some planes that are going to sit on the tarmac compared to Labor actually buying missiles that will be capable of being deployed within the next 12 to 24 months.
Simon, that's all very well, but I find it frankly impossible to believe that they'd buy fighters without missiles, without weapons or fuel. I think that must be a little rhetorical flourish.
Well, that's what... I'm sorry, Andrew, but that's what defence experts said the moment when Andrew Hastie came out with that announcement. They provisioned $3 billion, which is merely the cost of
let's have a side bet. Let's have a little bet, Simon.
It doesn't cost for any of the add-on areas.
I will bet your bippy that those planes will be in the air, and it'll be because they've got fuel in their tanks. All this, though, has given Peter Dutton a little opportunity to try and turn around a real problem for him, I think, that I don't think is addressed properly. And I think it is behind a lot of his recent falls in the polls. It's the Trump factor. Donald Trump attacking Britain, Canada, Australia has made all their left-wing leaders more popular, makes them look like they're standing up for their countries. Dutton tried to turn this around a bit today by saying Albanese was weak, but Peter Dutton wasn't, and he could fight Donald Trump. Here he is.
The President of the United States is going to stand up for America. I'm going to stand up for Australia. I have the strength of leadership and the experience to be able to stand up to the President of the United States or anyone else if they're acting against our country's interests.
Jason, how do you think the Trump factor is working out in this election campaign, and especially if he now hurts Australia with more tariffs on Thursday?
Well, Andrew, as your previous guest was pointing out, America's tariff war against Australia is not going to be of any great significance. We don't sell that much to them. We're a net importer of American goods. On top of all of that, what we do sell to them, Trump is not talking about including in his tariff regime. So Australia will probably, ironically, be a net beneficiary of the Trump tariff war that's going on at the moment. But beyond that, I think the real problem is that Donald Trump is a chaos agent. He's creating a lot of chaos and uncertainty in the global community at the moment. And when Australians are feeling that, there is a tendency to a flight to safety, which includes the person who is in government at the moment. Now, while people are not focused on the choice ahead... Sorry.
Yeah. Jason, I think it's going a bit beyond that. I mean, I saw Jim Chalmers, the Treasurer, today, directly linking Peter Dutton to Donald Trump, saying he was getting his ideas from the same area. And I think this is the issue, that he really needs to pick a fight with Donald Trump. But he's being painted as a Trump light, and that's going to hurt him. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's honest, but it's going to hurt him. Joseph Falinski, Simon Banks, thank you very much to you both. Really appreciate your time.